they have their own way of thinking. They're biased. Of course, the show is about the Charlo twins, and my brother. We both, we see what's going on. We peep social media here and there.
They are biased toward us. That's what Jermell Charlo stated a couple years ago on his own promotion, Lions Only, when he was robbed versus Tony Harrison, which we're going to revisit that comment later on in this video. For the moment in time, we're going to discuss the most controversial topic that I have been flooded to address from Lions Only fans to Mexican fans, etc., etc., of Jermell Charlo telling Deontay Wilder on his live with PBC that race don't matter. Therefore, this is going to be a 3-part video. The first part is addressing Jermell Charlo comments toward race don't matter. The second part is addressing Jermell Charlo labeling Canelo Alvarez as boxing pound for pound #1. The third part, we're going to talk about Jermell Charlo on the glove gate between Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. With that being said, without wasting any time, let's get straight to it. So, new media, pound for pound #3, Jermell Charlo told Deontay Wilder that race don't matter. When Wilder was speaking on Tyson Fury white privilege and got cut off the live. Therefore, if race don't matter, where is Jermell Charlo on the top 10 pound for pound list? Which I'm referring to old media's pound for pound list from DAZN, ESPN, the Ring Magazine, the WBC, the WBA, anyone's pound for pound list. Where is Jermell Charlo on the top 10? That's the $1 million question. I mean, Jermell Charlo has one of the deepest resumes in the sport of boxing. He's the Ring Magazine champion, soon to be undisputed, in a circular division. What I mean by that, the belts have been circulating since the division is so deep. However, Jermell remains supreme. But surprisingly, Jermell Charlo is nowhere to be found on anyone's pound for pound list when it comes to old media. Why is that? If race don't matter, according to Jermell Charlo, then he agrees with old media that he is not a top 10 pound for pound talent. He is not a pound for pound fighter. If race don't matter, Inoue, Estrada, Tio, Triple G, Lomachenko, Usyk, all of these fighters that's on the top 10 are better than him. And he can't disagree because according to him, race don't matter. So why would they be biased? They have no reason to be biased. Which that only could mean one thing. We do not want to hear Jermell Charlo cry and complain about not being treated right and not getting his just due or the credit he earned and deserved. Because according to him, race don't matter, so why will they be unfair to him? I mean, we know Jermell Charlo is pretty much undefeated. He beat everyone. He fought everyone. He's the Ring Magazine champion also, soon to be undisputed in a very deep division. However, even the Ring Magazine don't have him on the top 10 pound for pound, even though he's the Ring Magazine and the lineal champion. That's interesting. But it's fair because according to Jermell, race don't matter, so we do not want to hear him cry or complain about not getting his credit. Meanwhile, ESPN erased Lomachenko lost, placing him as pound for pound #1 over Terrence Crawford and Andre Ward. For years, ESPN erased Lomachenko losses on more than one occasion, placing him #1 until he lost to Teofimo Lopez in a stinking fashion. However, even then, Lomachenko is still on the top 10 pound for pound today, while Jermell Charlo is not. But let Jermell Charlo tell it. That has nothing to do with race. So, someone get Jermell Charlo the memo to request his loss to be erased since he was truly robbed against Tony Harrison. Therefore, if anyone deserved for his loss to be erased, is Jermell Charlo. However, the reality of the matter is Jermell Charlo does not have his Hope insurance like Lomachenko do. So he does not get them type of benefits such as erasing losses and erasing your history of cheating like Tyson Fury did. Even Canelo Alvarez, the WBC increased the computer roll limit when it comes to their drug testing, so Canelo Alvarez could eat contaminated meat and be legally allowed to fight while being on steroids. Now, do you see any of these benefits I just mentioned be given to a fighter on the coincidental list if they have been dealt with the same circumstances? Absolutely no. But according to the non-pound-for-pound fighter, Jermell Charlo, that has nothing to do with race. I mean, throughout the history of boxing, till this day, when fighters on the coincidental list box, they say they're running. When they show they have an iron chin, they call them a punching bag. On the other hand, when fighters on the hope list box, all of a sudden they want to point out the sweet science. When they show they have an iron chin, they want to point out how much heart they have, how much of a warrior they are. We constantly see these double standards. I mean, just look at Tyson Fury. As much of a non-puncher he is, as pillow-fisted as he is, have any of old media members called him boring? Or all they pay attention to is how much of a great boxer he is, while in the same breath, they call a fighter that's a better puncher, a better boxer, better overall, Floyd Mayweather, arguably TBE. They call him boring. However, when Lomachenko put on a stinking performance against Teofimo Lopez, they had nothing to say but defend Lomachenko for moving around, refusing to engage, only throwing and landing 6 punches for the first 6 rounds. The same thing occurred between Tyson Fury versus Klitschko, and they never called that fight boring. But they call, like I said, Floyd Mayweather boring. They say he too technical. And then when Deontay Wilder is not technical at all and has the highest knockout percentage, they say he's not technical enough. He's sloppy. Therefore, the reality is, if you're a fighter on the coincidental list, you damn if you do, damn if you don't. If you're on the hope list, do or don't, you will be praised. Meanwhile, Jermell Charlo believes race don't matter when fighters on the coincidental list have to do 3 times as much just to get half the credit. The irony of this all, Jermell is a perfect example. You see Jermell nowhere to be found on the pound-for-pound list. In fact, he is missing on the pound-for-pound list. It's like a popularity contest of the fighters on the hope list. That's the pound-for-pound list today. Meanwhile, you have Inoue, who I really like as a fighter. I love his style, but the truth is he beat nobody but a past his prime Donaire. However, some way, somehow, Inoue is at number 2, sometimes number 1 or number 3 on the pound-for-pound list, while Jermell is nowhere to be found. But again, that has nothing to do with race, so we do not want to hear Jermell cry or complain. With the facts being laid out, Jermell want to convince the boxing world that his people have been fighting for 400 years and still fighting till this day. However, race has nothing to do with the matter. You have police brutality today, where black innocent men are being killed till this day, but that has nothing to do with race. Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with race, according to Jermell Charlo. Therefore, for the people that may wonder, why is Jermell Charlo is saying these odd things? The answer is very simple. He wants acceptance. He wants to be loved. Because whoever speaks the truth is not loved. The most hated men in history are the people that spoke the truth. From Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. That's why they were killed. And for the people that may say that has nothing to do with boxing though. But in all reality, boxing is the reflection of life. Since boxing is all about pride and race. Do you guys know that the most hated man in the world, not in the sport of boxing, but in the world, back in the 1960s and the 1970s, was Muhammad Ali? Why do you think that was? Because He wasn't like Jermell Charlo. He was exactly the opposite. He stood up for something. He spoke about racial injustice. He fought for his people, and that's why even after he passed away, may he rest in peace, his name will live forever. See, the irony of it all, they hated Muhammad Ali to death when he was alive, but love him when he's no longer alive because he's no longer a threat. See, the threat lies in Muhammad Ali telling the truth, just like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, which they were killed for it. Even if you are a Christian, they killed Jesus for telling the truth. Or why do you think they crucified Jesus, according to the Christians? However, us Muslims, we believe he was raised to the seventh heaven. But that's beside the point. The point here is the truth is not popular. But if you don't stand up for something, you will fall for anything. A world figure is not created by just having a name. You gotta have the right recipe, which is the truth. That's why Muhammad Ali was bigger than boxing. Even after his death, his name lives forever. Even after the prophets died, their message lived forever. Even Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, the sacrifices they made with their own lives changed people's lives forever afterwards. See, people don't remember the names of the coons Malcolm X was debating. People only remember Malcolm X schooling the coons. So when it comes to Jermell Charlo, you either stand up for something or fall for anything. Because even the Lions only fans are disappointed in you. Instead of being a leader, Jermell Charlo turned out to be a follower to the trend of selling out to be accepted. See, the sad truth is, Jermell Charlo don't realize that people are not laughing with him. They laughing at him. See, Jermell Charlo is repeating the popular narrative in the comment section ever since he made his YouTube channel and also his Instagram. But what he don't realize is that they don't like you. They just like what you say at the moment in time. The moment Jermell Charlo flips the script and says something they don't like, he's definitely going to see the true colors of these racist fans. And in all reality, he already know their true colors, which is exactly why he repeating exactly what they want to hear. Why do you think Jermell Charlo called Canelo Alvarez pound for pound #1? You think that was sincere? I mean, from years ago, Jermell Charlo been calling out Canelo Alvarez. He even left Golden Boy because they promised him the Canelo fight and did not fulfill the promise because Canelo said absolutely no. So Jermell knows better than I do that Canelo have been ducking him and his brother for years.
I was kind of voided by some of the main guys that people thought was the studs, and they never wanted to give me that to me because they knew what it was from the beginning. I asked for that fight before Rosado. They told me, "Oh, you win this fight, you beat Rosado, you gonna fight Canelo." And then I ain't fight Canelo, and guess what I did? Me professionally, I wrote up a release myself to Golden Boy, and I sent it to him. It wasn't Al Heyman that said that. It's because they lied to me. They're not bad people. They just lied to me. All my career, I fought people that they thought was gonna beat me.
I mean, think about it. Canelo Alvarez, fabulous four of his time are the twin Charlos and Andrade, in which Canelo avoided all three of them while taking steroids in the process. But Jermell Charlo truly believes Canelo is pound for pound #1 while he's ducking his own brother as we speak. In fact, Canelo Alvarez gave up his belt in order to duck Jermell Charlo. After all, Canelo Alvarez is the pioneer of the NBF Witness Protection Franchise, No Black Fighters Witness Protection Program. Jermell Charlo knows this better than I do. But out of all people, Jermell labels Canelo as pound for pound #1. So if that's the case, why is Jermell Charlo calling out Floyd Mayweather every other day talking about he's gonna knock out Floyd Mayweather, who is 45 years old and retired from the sport of boxing over 6 years ago. But that didn't stop Jermell from calling out Floyd Mayweather till this day. On the other hand, you have the European assassin Canelo Alvarez, who assassinates Europeans in Texas, where Jermell is from, who Jermell believes is pound for pound number one. Canelo Alvarez, that is. And Jermell is not calling out Canelo Alvarez to a fight? Help me make sense out of this. Why isn't Jermell calling out Canelo Alvarez, who is his age, who is his rival, instead of calling out a retired Floyd Mayweather who retired 6 years ago? Jermell should be going after Canelo Alvarez to submit his own legacy instead of worrying about TBE. And don't bring up the weight as an excuse, because Errol Spence, who fights at a smaller weight division than Jermell, 147, called out Canelo Alvarez to link up at 160, in which Canelo accepted. So Jermell could do the same thing. He could call out Canelo Alvarez to fight at 160. Why is he not doing so? The answer is as clear as day. He's afraid of the backlash from the Canelo Alvarez fans. If you don't believe me, you could listen to it out of his own mouth.
Put the crown on my shit. Don't put no duck, put the crown, because y'all know it's Jermell Charlo. It's Jermell Charlo, not the other one. I'm not Jermell Charlo, I'm Jermell Charlo. And I never duck nobody. So quit putting that shit. Viva Mexico. Viva Mexico. Ain't none of them, ain't no Mexican at the top in my weight division. Yeah. Ain't no Mexican. What Mexican at the top in the 154? Nobody. Argentinian and Dominican and American and Cuban and no Mexican. So stop asking. Viva Mexico, I love y'all. But I ain't no Mexican in 154. I'm 154. Straight up. Fight, we lit. Hello. Then we out of here. Cause they ain't kick us out.
They stepped up their little board.
They stepped their shit up a little bit from last year. I see it. A little bit. Ocarino, but. No, I ain't saying my brother ducking. I'm just saying I'm not Jermell. I'm King Charlo. I'm not Mal. Sorry. I don't know what else to say. Put that fuck.
You hear Jermell say, I don't have no Mexicans in my division. Viva Mexico. Put the crown on my ish. Therefore, Jermell is well aware of the hate and where exactly it's coming from. That's why he says what he says to please these racist fans and these decafs in order to be left alone. This is what Jermell is doing. He just want to be accepted. That's all he's doing. That's why you see Jermell disrespect an idol of his, Floyd Mayweather, because whenever he disrespect Floyd, he receive a whole lot of love, especially from these Mexican fans. On the other hand, when he was calling out Canelo for ducking, or just calling out Canelo respectfully, he received a lot of hate until he noticed whenever he says something good about Canelo, even if it's a lie, he received a lot of love. So he started giving us more and more, and that's exactly how we ended up here today. From him saying Canelo is number one and race don't matter. It's funny because not too long ago, Jermell was going at Andrade, telling Andrade, why you not calling out Canelo? Why you not chasing Canelo? Trying to suggest that he's ducking Canelo. When Andrade have been chasing Canelo for the past 7 years to this day, just like Jermell. Then when Andrade pulled a page out of Muhammad Ali book the way he did with Sonny Liston by pulling up on Canelo press conference, you see Jermell Charlo trash Andrade for calling out Canelo, when he just asked Andrade, why you not calling out Canelo? I mean, the contradictions is beyond belief. But again, if Jermell turned his back on his own brother, Jermell, on his own blood, for Canelo Alvarez and said, Viva Mexico, Canelo the best, while he's ducking Jermell, a mirror of himself, then of course, he's gonna trash Andrade for whatever he do. He says he don't like Andrade, but he won't fight Andrade today for $10 million. He'd rather blacklist him instead. And last but not least, what blew my mind the most is seeing the Charlo twins diss their own allies, such as Oscar De La Hoya, who was airing out Canelo for avoiding them. But they rather diss Oscar De La Hoya for Canelo Alvarez, who never denied ducking them in order to please the Canelo fans. I mean, that's so mind-blowing. How do you diss your own allies? This is a perfect example of back in the day, where the house N-word used to love his master more than he loved himself. Jermell Charlo will defend Canelo and diss his own blood, his own brother. He will even diss his own self to praise Canelo. Jermell Charlo, just the other day, he dissed his own self pretty much to defend Canelo. This is exactly why social media is a gift and a curse. The only people Jermell is ducking is the comment section, is the backlash, is the keyboard warriors. Canelo Alvarez fans in the comment section got the Charlo twins shook. They're scared to look to their comment section, and that's the truth. Last time I checked, I never knew that the bird's whispers will persuade the king of the jungle, which is the lion. So it's fair to say that the Charlo twins are true champions and lions inside of the ring. But outside of the ring, it's a different story. Instead of being leaders, they are followers. Instead of leading the pack, they lost the pack, which is a major disappointment to their foundation of the Lions Only fans. Which, since that's the case, I won't feel bad on my end if Jermell Charlo never gets the credit he deserves. And it won't be because Jermell talked trash, so on and so forth, because they left Duran when he was talking trash, when he was dissing Leonard's wife, etc., etc. We all know what time it is. Nevertheless, it's good to know where the Charlo twins stands, because if they never get the credit they deserve, I will be happy. If they get the credit they deserve, I will also be happy. If Jermell Charlo never gets the Canelo fight, I will be happy. If he does get the Canelo fight, I will also be happy. At the end of the day, or at least the night, you can't fight for someone's rights if they not willing to fight for themselves. Furthermore, Jermell Charlo told Deontay Wilder that race don't matter, when Wilder was talking about him not having the complexion for the connection to get the ultimate protection, is the exact reason why Tyson Fury cheated in front of the whole world while being labeled as the hero, and they turned around labeling the victim, Deontay Wilder, as the villain. They villainized him. Thanks to Tyson Fury, Hope Insurance, that's better than Geico.
You don't know what's going on, then, hey, may God be with you. But like I said before, many people, especially in boxing, they did this, Ray. They did that, Ray.
Yeah.
Allowed them to do this. They saw no evil. They heard it, so they didn't speak. And then when you ask about the gloves, well, you can't not see that gloves do not bend. Your wrist can't bend unless you double joint it or something. How the hell it bends 90-degree angle? It don't keep a fold in. It don't keep a fold in space. Nor does it have loose space in it. It's impossible. It's impossible for that to happen. He got a rap sheet of cheating. He got a rap sheet of abusing drugs. But you talk about a guy like me that ain't got no rap sheet or nothing, just pure power, pure work ethic. But I'm lying, and you got a guy that's known for cheating, and he's telling the truth. But we gonna do this right here, though. We gonna do that right there. But we already know what that is. I don't have the complexion for the protection, and I love it. I love it because it gives me a more challenge in life in this world.
Let's all be honest. If Deontay Wilder glove looked like that, and he knocked out Tyson Fury while having Tyson Fury rap sheet of cheating, taking steroids, etc., etc. Would old media protect Deontay Wilder the way they defended Tyson Fury blind, who have been trying to escape the trilogy for the past 18 months? Not to mention, Tyson Fury lied about Deontay Wilder requesting step-aside money of 20 million pounds. Frank Warren, Tyson Fury's own promoter, clarified that that was a lie. Frank Warren stated that step-aside money was not even an option. Tyson Fury was forced to fight Deontay Wilder or retire from the sport of boxing, which I'm gonna leave that video in the comment section below. So if race don't matter, why is old media not reporting on the facts that Tyson Fury lied to his own fans? That's the least thing they could do. We all know if the shoes was on the other side, Deontay Wilder will be locked up in jail as we speak if he would have tampered with his gloves the way Tyson Fury did. Therefore, Jermell Charlo could pretend all day, every day that Tyson Fury didn't cheat. But people lie, women lie, but your eyes don't lie. And everyone that sees these organic photos of Tyson Fury tampered gloves, where you can see Tyson Fury knuckles printed on the right glove, knows the truth deep inside. You guys can lie behind the keyboard, but your eyes is not going to lie to you. So you know the truth deep inside after looking at these organic photos. So does Jermell Charlo. With that being stated, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe below and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Akhi TV. Peace, and I'm on to the next one.